I think it's important to know that the timing of the requirements. The Secretary of State's office in Colorado is pretty resourceful in providing the rules and regulations that one needs to follow to stay in compliance. And that is, it's called tracer.com. And the Secretary of State's websites under campaigns and elections is a great resource for any entity who wants to start the process. And then what typically happens is your reports are filed quarterly, mostly. So the first quarter, January, February, March, that needs to be recorded, and then 15 days after, you will then file your report for that particular reporting period. And so until you get closer to the campaign, until you get closer to the election, actual election day, it's mostly quarterly. So depending on how much you have coming in or how much you have going out, that will totally dictate how much work you have to do. And on 7A, while they were smaller budget campaigns, it was those types of, the size of those campaigns are very manageable. And I believe you can find legal counsel and compliance professionals to work at a really reasonable rate. All the folks that I know who our compliance world, we're all close friends, and we all help each other out quite a bit in making sure that we stay current on new regulations that the Secretary of State publishes or new laws that may come out. The other important piece to know about compliance is because of that record keeping, you absolutely have to track everything and keep documentation of bank statements and all incoming funds. So you keep copies of your bank statements, all the checks that come in and all the checks that go out. And then frequently what will happen is a lot of the dollars that will be going out of the campaign are going to be to vendors and contractors who are doing either, you know, the fundraising, the management, the digital piece, the media piece. And so at the end of the campaign, those records are very helpful when you need to do 1099s by January 31st. So there are a lot of pieces to the compliance. And that's why I always suggest that it's the first person you hire or the first person that you retain, however you get them. And then that record keeping is key. And there is a certain time requirement for every level of government that requires compliance, that you keep those records. So behind me in my closet, I have the compliance records for multiple campaigns, and the Secretary of State, I would say, an individual would be able to go to the campaign finance manual, get all the information they need, and then it'll also tell you how long you need to retain those records. And I believe it's 3 years in Colorado. So compliance is important. It's not the sexiest. It's not the most exciting piece of the campaign. But for some of us, we really enjoy that piece of it because it's very methodical. Knowing what you're doing is very important, and then you can be much more helpful to people once you get a compliance cycle under your belt. So come and talk to us about compliance. I'm always happy to answer questions when folks are starting to